Hey, I'm Kevin Hood, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the link between ADHD and sensitivity and what that means for becoming a more highly effective leader. The most important thing to understand first is that ADHD is not purely genetic. Despite modern advancements in mental health understanding, many people are still under the outdated and misguided assumption that ADHD is some purely genetic and inherited brain disorder, which flat out isn't true. Now, while I am not a doctor or licensed mental health expert, I've done enough research to know that the genetic argument stands on a pretty shaky foundation. And I've had enough personal experience to know that since I stopped taking medication at age 15, I've seen enough progress in my personal, professional, and academic achievement that I personally don't think I would even qualify for an ADHD diagnosis anymore. And I'm not here to tell you that you should or shouldn't be taking medication, but I just want to be honest and transparent about where I'm at on my journey. When I stopped taking medication at age 15, I basically realized that there's actually nothing wrong with me, and there's something wrong with the way I was being treated. And this was later confirmed in me when I read Dr. Gabor Maté's book, Scattered Minds. And if you want to understand more deeply the link between sensitivity and ADHD, I highly recommend you go check out his book. But in short, he proposes that ADHD is a coping mechanism. The tuning out, the distractibility, the emotional overwhelm is a way for the highly sensitive child to cope with an overwhelming environment or overwhelming circumstances. And these overwhelming environments and circumstances might seem completely normal to our less sensitive peers, which turn out to be the majority of the population. So if you've ever felt misunderstood, this might be why. And it's important to know that sensitivity occurs on a spectrum from high to low, and there are important benefits that come from both high and low sensitivity within a population. And I'd like to talk about the benefits associated with the biological sensitivity that's often associated with ADHD. Now, in one of Dr. Gabor Maté's other books, he mentioned a study that I thought was particularly interesting for our purposes here. He doesn't associate it with ADHD, but upon reading it, I immediately did, and I think you will too. So in a 2001 research manual on the biological effects of stress, there's a study mentioned on rhesus monkeys. And researchers really like rhesus monkeys because they're small and easy to handle, but they also share about 93% of their genetic makeup with humans. And researchers noted that about 20% of the population of rhesus monkeys are considered high reactors. And upon separation from their mother, they're more likely to exhibit depressive behaviors, increased anxiety, emotional outbursts, increased health-related challenges, and they tended to end up at the bottom of the social hierarchy. Now, in humans too, we also find that about 20% of the population is what we'd call highly sensitive. Now, in this study, the high reactors, when reared with especially nurturing mothers, showed no signs of their usual behavioral disorder and instead rose to the top of the social hierarchy and excelled in their development when compared to their less reactive peers. In essence, these highly sensitive monkeys, when nurtured properly, were natural-born leaders. And I believe the same is true for humans too. Sensitivity, an enhanced awareness of what's going on in our environment and the people around us, is an essential leadership trait. But if that sensitivity was instead criticized, punished, ignored, or overlooked in us as children, we may become overly sensitive to criticism and easily overwhelmed by other people's emotional states. But it's never too late or too difficult to turn things around. Now, the goal here isn't to become less sensitive, but to become less sensitive to things like criticism and other people projecting their anger and insecurities onto you, to build the self-esteem that you need to move confidently through life, regardless of what other people think of you. To value your own gifts of kindness, empathy, and understanding that allow you to become a more highly effective leader. To be the bigger person and to not take things so personally, and to help people understand themselves when they're projecting onto you, and to lead the way to making a world a better place, more like the kind of world that you and I would like to live in. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the link between ADHD and sensitivity? What do you know about becoming a more highly effective leader? What do you think that this has to do with you in your own healing journey? What have you learned in your own healing journey? Let me know. I want to hear from you in the comments below. And until next time, lots of love. My name's Kevin Hood.